the gift no one expected. The alien hall was cold and wide, filled with strange lights and buzzing voices. Tall creatures with sharp horns and glowing eyes stood in silence as Jace, the only human in the room, stepped forward. He wore a worn-out coat and simple boots, dust still clinging to him from his long journey. Jace didn't like this place. The floor was too shiny, the walls too perfect. Everything here smelled like metal and power. A tall alien named Varzul stood at the center. He was dressed in golden armor, his voice loud and proud. "Human Jace," Varzul said. "For your help in the war, the Empire thanks you. And to show our deep respect." He clapped twice. 2 alien guards dragged someone into the hall. A girl. She was small, thin, and dirty. Chains hung from her wrists. Her eyes were down, her face pale. She wore torn clothes, barely enough to cover her. Her skin was marked, old bruises, scars. Her feet were bare. "We give you this gift," Varzul said, "a rare slave from the inner colonies. She is yours now." The hall was silent. Every alien watched, waiting to see what Jace would do. He looked at the girl. She didn't speak. She didn't move. She just stood there like she wasn't even alive inside. Jace's hands curled into fists. He hated this. He took a step forward. "What is her name?" he asked. Varzul laughed. "Does it matter? She's yours. Call her whatever you want." Jace didn't say anything. He took off his coat slowly. It was old and torn in places, but warm. Then, in front of everyone, he knelt down on one knee in front of the girl. The chains rattled. Her eyes slowly looked up, confused. Jace placed the coat over her shoulders, carefully, gently, like she was made of glass. "You're cold," he said. The entire hall froze. Varzul's smile vanished. The guards looked at each other, unsure. No one moved. The girl's lips parted slightly, but no words came out. Jace stood up and turned to the alien noble. "She's not a gift," he said quietly. "She's a person." Varzul narrowed his eyes. "You insult the Empire's tradition? Then, your tradition is broken." Jace walked over and placed a hand on the girl's back. "Come," he whispered. She followed. Slowly, with small steps, still unsure. The coat was too big for her, but she held it close. As they walked out of the hall, the crowd didn't stop them. No one spoke. Only whispers followed them. Soft, shocked, scared. Outside, the air was cooler. The stars above were bright. Jace led her to a small rest station nearby. He bought food, simple bread and soup, and handed it to her. She didn't touch it at first. "It's okay," Jace said. "You're safe now." The girl looked at him. Her eyes were wide, filled with confusion and fear. Slowly, she reached for the bowl. Her hands shook. She ate like someone who hadn't tasted real food in weeks. When she finished, Jace gave her water and sat beside her. For a while, they didn't talk. He waited. After some time, she spoke. Just one word. "Why?" Jace turned to her. "Why? What?" he asked. She looked down at the coat around her. "Why?" "Give me this," she whispered. Jace was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Because you're not a thing. You're not anyone's property." She stared at him. "Do you want to tell me your name?" he asked gently. The girl looked unsure. Then, very softly, she said, "Leary." Jace smiled a little. "Leary," he repeated. "That's a beautiful name." Her eyes filled with tears, but she quickly wiped them away. He didn't try to touch her again. He just stayed beside her, close but respectful. That night, Leary slept in a soft bed for the first time in years. Jace sat in the chair nearby, watching the door, his blaster in his lap. He knew this wasn't over. Somewhere out there, the aliens wouldn't forget what he did. But for now, the girl was safe, and that was enough. She was not an object the sun on. Arvala Station was dull and red, always hiding behind thick gray clouds. It wasn't a pretty place, but Jace didn't care. It was quiet, and for now that was enough. Inside the small shelter he had rented, Leary sat at the edge of the bed, wearing the oversized coat he had given her the night before. She hadn't taken it off, not even once. Jace brought her a fresh meal, warm rice, fruit slices, and soft bread. He placed it on the table and stepped back, giving her space. She didn't touch it. Instead, she looked at him with wide, unsure eyes. "You can eat," Jace said softly. "It's not a trick." She nodded slowly but still didn't move. He understood. In her world, nothing came free. Kindness was just a mask, always hiding something worse underneath. After a long moment, she reached out with shaking hands. The first bite made her eyes water. She didn't cry, but something inside her broke. She ate like she didn't know when the next meal would come. Jace sat nearby saying nothing. He just watched her and listened to the sound of her chewing quietly. "Why do you do this?" Leary finally whispered. "Do what? Treat me like a person?" Jace leaned forward. "Because that's what you are." Her hands froze. Her eyes dropped to the table. She didn't speak again for a while. That night, Jace took her to a small supply market. He gave her credits and said, "Choose what you want." She stared at the racks of clean clothes, shoes, and small scarves like they were treasure from another world. "I can't," she said. "You can. They'll beat me." "No one will hurt you again," Jace said firmly. "Not while I'm here." After a long pause, she picked a plain gray tunic and soft shoes. She clutched them close like they were made of gold. A merchant watched them. He was an old alien with 3 eyes and scales on his neck. "Humans are strange," he said to Jace. "You were given a treasure, and you spend credits dressing it." Jace didn't smile. "She's not a thing," he said coldly. The alien laughed. "Maybe, but the Empire will come for her. You've made enemies. Let them come." In the following days, Leary changed. She started walking straighter. She began asking questions, simple ones but brave. "What is this drink? What's outside the station? What does that word mean?" Each time, Jace answered with patience. She laughed once, only once. It was small and short, like a bird's cry. But to Jace, it was the most beautiful sound he'd heard in years. But peace never lasts long. One evening, Jace returned from town and found the shelter door open. His heart jumped. His hand moved to his blaster. Inside, everything looked normal, except for one thing. A message was burned into the wall using a plasma knife. "Return the girl. She is not yours." Jace stared at it in silence. Then he saw her, Leary, hiding in the corner, behind the chair, shaking. He knelt beside her. "Did they hurt you?" She shook her head. "They came. They looked at me. They said, I'll be taken back soon." Jace's jaw tightened. He pulled her close, slowly, gently. "No one is taking you," he said. "You're not going back." Her voice cracked. "They always take me back." "Not this time." Later that night, Jace contacted an old friend, Captain Bren, a rogue smuggler who owed him a favor. "I need passage off-world," Jace said. "What's the cargo?" Bren asked. "A person. You know the Empire's watching you, right?" "Yeah." "Then I hope she's worth it." Jace looked at Leary, who was sitting on the bed hugging her knees. "She is." Before sunrise, they packed quietly. Jace handed Leary a backpack with clothes and food. "We'll move fast," he said. "No noise, no stops." As they stepped outside, shadows moved near the edge of the street. 3 alien bounty hunters waited. Leary gasped. Jace pulled her behind him. "You're not taking her," Jace growled. "Orders from High Command," one of them said. "The girl's property, not your concern, human." Jace didn't reply. He moved fast. 2 shots, clean and quiet. 1 alien fell. The others scattered. He grabbed Leary's hand. "Run!" They sprinted through the dark alleys, across metal bridges, down forgotten tunnels. Every step echoed with danger. When they finally reached the shipyard, Captain Bren was waiting, engine humming low. "Get in." he said. Jace pushed Leary inside. As they lifted off, the girl clung to him. "You didn't leave me," she whispered. "I never will." Above them, the stars opened wide, but the danger wasn't over yet. The Empire wouldn't forget, and neither would Jace. A name and a voice. The ship's engines hummed softly as it flew through the empty blackness of space. Outside the window, stars blinked like distant, silent watchers. Inside, all was quiet, except for the soft breathing of Leary curled in a blanket. On the far end of the cargo bay, Jace stood near the ship's small kitchen staring into a hot cup of synth tea. His mind wasn't on the stars or the tea. It was on her. She hadn't spoken a word since they escaped. Not during the jump into orbit. Not when the bounty hunters fired at them. Not when the ship finally slipped into deep space. She had gone, quiet again, like before, like the weight of fear had returned to crush her voice. Jace sighed and looked over at her. She was awake, eyes open, staring at nothing. Slowly he walked over and sat across from her. "How's your hand?" he asked gently. Leary looked down at her fingers. One had a small cut from when she stumbled during the escape. She moved it slightly, then nodded. "It's fine." It was the first word she had spoken in 2 days. Jace smiled, just a little. "Good." A long pause. Then she asked, "Where are we going?" "To a place where no one will call you a slave. Where you can be anything you want." She didn't answer. "You'll be safe there," he added. "You keep saying that." Her voice was soft, almost bitter. He looked at her carefully. "Do you not believe me?" "I want to," she whispered. "But it's hard. Every time someone says I'm safe, it ends with chains." Those words hit him harder than a bullet. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "Leary, the Empire called you property. They branded you, sold you, treated you like nothing. But that doesn't mean you are nothing. You're not an object. Then, what am I?" He looked into her eyes. "You're a person with a name, a voice, a future." Leary blinked. Her eyes watered, but she quickly wiped them with her sleeve. She looked away. "My real name isn't Leary." "What is it?" Jace asked softly. She hesitated. Then she whispered, "Sareen." Jace nodded. "Sareen? That's a strong name." She looked at him again. "You don't think it's ugly?" "No. It sounds like hope." The next day, the ship entered a small star system known only to smugglers and runaways. It was called the Valen Drift, a place where no one asked questions and no Empire flags flew. They landed on a hidden spaceport, built into the cliffs of a red moon. Jace guided Sareen through the busy market tunnels. Aliens of every kind moved around them, tall, short, armored, robed, silent. But no one stared at her. No one called her slave. And for the first time, Sareen walked without chains. Inside a small vendor's stall, Jace bought her a simple necklace, just a thin cord, with a metal pendant shaped like a tree. "What's this?" she asked, curious. "It's a gift," he said. "The tree means strength, growth. You've been through so much, but you're still standing." She held it tightly in her hands, unsure what to say. "Can I really keep this?" "Yes, it's yours. Nothing's ever been mine before." Jace gave her a soft smile. "Then this is your first." But peace did not last. In a quiet corner of the station, a security drone scanned Jace's face. An alert pinged across 3 sectors. "Human male, confirmed. Fugitive. Wanted for theft of Imperial property." The words made his blood run cold. He quickly turned to Sareen. "We have to move." "What happened?" "They found us. They ran down metal stairs through crowded halls, dodging cameras." The sound of alarms began to echo in the distance, guards shouted. Voices echoed. "Stop them! That's the human! He has the girl!" They ducked into a maintenance shaft. Sareen clutched her necklace, breathing hard. "Are they here for me?" she asked. "Yes," Jace said. "But they'll have to go. Through me first." He drew his blaster ready. But before they could move again, a voice rang out behind them. "You don't have to run." They turned. It was a tall alien woman dressed in brown robes, face marked with old scars. She didn't look like Empire forces, but she didn't look friendly either. "Who are you?" Jace asked, aiming his weapon. "A friend," she said. "You saved her. Now let me save both of you." Cyrene stepped forward. "Why?" The woman looked directly at her. "Because I was once like you." The order to return her. The woman's name was Naira. She had once been a rebel fighter. Now she ran a safe house deep beneath the Valen Drift, hidden far below the scanners of the Empire. Her eyes were hard, but her voice was calm. "We don't ask questions down here," Naira said, leading them through narrow tunnels lined with dim yellow lights. "People like you, people like her, they come here when no one else will take them." Jace held Cyrene close as they walked. The girl's steps were steady, but her hand gripped his sleeve tight. She hadn't spoken since the run-in at the market. Too much noise. Too many threats. The fear was returning. They passed doors bolted shut, strange symbols painted on metal walls, the smell of old fuel and wet stone filling the air. "This place used to be a mining outpost," Naira explained. "Now it's a home for the hunted." She opened a final door and motioned them inside. "You'll be safe here, at least for now." Inside was a small room, just 2 beds, a table, and a water unit. It wasn't much, but it was more than Cyrene had ever had. Later that night, as Jace sat checking his old comms device, a sharp tone echoed across the small screen. A new message. Encrypted. Imperial code. His blood went cold as he opened it. "You have 1 cycle, 24 hours, to return the stolen property. Failure will be treated as treason. Coordinates for exchange enclosed. Regional Enforcer Vaktal." The message ended with a holographic symbol. The Empire's crest. Sharp, cold, and unforgiving. Jace stared at it for a long time. Property. That word made his stomach twist. He looked at Cyrene, sleeping on the bed, her necklace still clutched in her fingers. The next morning, he didn't tell her. Instead, he helped her wash her face, gave her food, and asked her to rest while he met Naira outside. "They found me," he said. "They sent an order. They want me to return her." Naira's expression didn't change. "Will you?" "No," Jace said instantly. "Then you'll have to be ready to run again. I don't want her to live in fear forever. We need more than hiding." Naira crossed her arms. "You're talking about fighting the Empire. Are you ready for that?" "No," Jace said quietly. "But I'd rather fight and fall than hand her back in chains." Back in the room, Cyrene sat by the window, staring at the dusty stars. She turned as Jace entered. "You're quiet," she said. He nodded, just thinking. "They're coming for me, aren't they?" His heart sank. "Yes." She looked down. "I heard the message. I'm sorry." "Don't be," she said. "This always happens. I get taken. No one fights for me. Not this time. They'll kill you." Jace stepped closer. "Then they'll have to try." Her voice broke. "You don't owe me anything." "You're wrong," he said. "I owe you everything. Because the day you spoke your name was the day I remembered what it means to fight for someone again. The plan was dangerous, maybe even foolish." Naira gave them old disguises, merchant gear, and forged IDs. Her crew prepared a decoy ship while Jace and Cyrene took a hidden route to the meeting point the Empire had given. The plan was simple. Get close, fake a surrender, and escape using smoke grenades and a cloaked hoverpod waiting nearby. But nothing, with the Empire, is ever simple. At the edge of an abandoned hangar, Jace stepped into the open. Cyrene stood behind him, hands shaking but eyes strong. A black transport ship landed with a screech. From it stepped Vaktal. Tall, armored in black, his face hidden behind a mirrored visor. "You came," Vaktal said, voice metallic. "I came." "To say no," Jace replied. Vaktal tilted his head. "You don't understand. She belongs to the Empire. She doesn't belong to anyone." "She is marked," the enforcer said. "She wears the collar of a Class 4 servant." Jace's voice rose. She wears a necklace now, not chains. Vaktal took a step forward. Last chance, human. Give her back. Walk away. Live. Serene stepped beside Jace. Her voice was clear. Steady. I am Serene. I'm not property, and I will not go with you. The enforcer paused. Then you've chosen death. He raised his weapon, but Jace was faster. Smoke exploded from his hand. Everything went gray. Loud shouts. Blasts fired. The hoverpod roared to life. Jace grabbed Serene's hand. Run! They dove inside, the hatch ceiling shut. The pod shot into the air. Above the chaos, Serene looked at Jace. I was ready to die, she said, trembling. But you didn't let me. He held her hand tightly. You said your name. That means you've already started to live. And somewhere in deep space, as the stars moved around them, the Empire wrote their names down on the wanted list, but neither of them would ever go back. The escape plan, a hoverpod, streaked through the stars like a silent bullet, slipping into the asteroid belt known as the Broken Crown. Its twisted rocks and shattered moons spun like forgotten bones, hiding secrets in their shadows. Jace gripped the controls with tense hands. Every move had to be perfect. One wrong nudge and the pod would be torn apart. Behind him, Serene sat quietly, staring out the side window. Her breathing was calm, but her eyes stayed wide. She had seen too much fire, too many weapons. But something was different now. She wasn't shaking, she wasn't silent, she was thinking, planning, becoming. We can't keep running, she finally said. Jace glanced back. We have to. The Empire won't stop. Then we need a better plan. He paused. You have something in mind? You said we were going to find a place where no one owned me, she said. But maybe we need to make that place ourselves. After they cleared the asteroids, Jace sent a message on a private channel. One name, one code, call sign, Broken Fang. Minutes later, an old warship answered the signal, rusted, patched with mismatched parts, but still alive. A voice came through, low and amused. Well, Jace Ryder, the ghost returns. I need help, Tanek. Tanek was no friend. He was an ex-mercenary, once a killer for hire, but he owed Jace a life debt from the war, and that was enough. I've got a crew. Smugglers, medics, outlaws. We don't like the Empire either. What's the job? I need to disappear. And she, Jace glanced at Serene, needs to survive. How bad is it? High command level bounty. Tanek whistled. Bring her aboard. Let's talk. When they docked with Tanek's ship, the Bloodwind, Serene stepped off the pod with steady steps. The crew stared at her. Scars on her arms, necklace shining, eyes hard but alive. Tanek looked her up and down. You were the Empire's? I was, she said. And now? Now I belong to myself. His grin faded. He nodded once. Welcome aboard. For days they traveled through old trade routes and forgotten tunnels in deep space. But even in the shadows, word spread. The Empire was offering more than money. They were offering power to whoever brought Serene back. Whole systems began hunting them inside the ship. Serene trained. She learned tech from an old engineer named Lyra 9, who had once broken out of 3 slave camps. She learned to shoot from a blind soldier who never missed. But what changed her most was what she found in the ship's archive, a hidden file, a name. Project Whisper. Jace found her staring at it. What is it? He asked. She turned to him, her face pale. I think I wasn't just a slave. He frowned. What do you mean? She clicked the file. A hologram played. A lab. White walls. Scientists. Syringes. A small child in chains. Her. They weren't just using her. They were building her. They gave me injections. Experiments. Told me I had a voice that could control machines. Jace stared at the screen, stunned. Can you? Serene closed her eyes. A moment passed, and then the lights flickered. The door behind them hissed open on its own. The comms panel blinked. No one had touched it. She opened her eyes. I can. Tanek watched the replay in silence. They were trying to make you a weapon. They failed, Serene said, because now I choose who I fight for. He smiled. I like her. Jace nodded. So do I. But the Empire was closing in. A fleet entered the outer system, ships painted black, flags flying high. Jace, Serene, and Tanek sat at the command table. We need a new plan, Tanek said. They found us again. Serene stepped forward. Then, don't run. You want to fight a fleet, he asked. Not just fight, she said. Shut them down. She walked to the main control core. If I can reach their network, if I can use what they did to me. You'll destroy yourself, Jace said, or free others like me. The escape plan changed, no longer running. Now they would strike back. A trap was set. Fake signals sent. The Empire's ships followed, and Serene stood at the center of the command deck, hands on the control system. Are you sure? Jace asked her, standing close. I was made to obey, she said, voice steady. Now I choose to disobey. The moment came. The fleet entered range. Serene closed her eyes and spoke. Her voice wasn't loud, but it echoed like thunder through the ship. Machines heard it. Systems bent. Command decks flickered. Weapons failed. Ships shut down. One by one, they fell silent. Tanek stared in awe. Jace grabbed Serene before she collapsed. You did it, he whispered. She smiled faintly. We're not just escaping anymore. And in that moment, she wasn't a slave. She was a spark, a beginning. The cost of kindness silence filled the command deck of the Bloodwind. Outside, a dozen Imperial warships floated in space, powerless, drifting like broken bones. Their weapons were cold. Their engines were dead, all because of one girl, Serene. She stood at the center of it all, eyes closed, her breath slow and shallow. Her skin was pale, her lips trembling. Jace caught her before she fell. I'm okay, she whispered. But Jace could feel her heartbeat. Too fast. Her body had pushed too far. You stopped a fleet, he said softly. Not forever, she replied. They'll send more. Tanek stared at her like she was no longer a girl, but a storm. What you did, that wasn't hacking, he said. That was something else. They built it into me, Serene said, but they never taught me how to stop it. The Bloodwind moved through deep space again, hiding in solar shadows and storm fields, but Jace could feel it, the weight. Serene's gift came with a cost. She barely ate. She barely slept. The more she used her voice, the more it drained her. And now she was changing. Wires under her skin, glowing lines along her back. Jace sat beside her in the med bay. Your body wasn't ready for this, the ship's medic said. But I have to use it, Serene said. It's the only thing keeping us alive. It's also killing you, Jace whispered. She looked at him. Then let it, she said. As long as you live. No, Jace replied. We live together. Or not at all. Days passed. Jace and Tanek intercepted a secret signal, not from the Empire, but from something else. A name. Vos Kai. Even Tanek went pale when he heard it. You've made too much noise, he told Jace. They're calling in the death machine. What is it? Not what, Tanek said. Who? Vos Kai was not a soldier. He was once human, long ago. Enhanced, twisted, and rebuilt by the Empire's darkest labs. He had no mercy. No soul. They called him the Reclaimer. He hunted those the Empire could not control. He never failed. Serene heard the name and didn't flinch. Let him come, she said. You can't even walk without shaking, Jace said. You're hurting yourself. Then let me hurt for something real. Why do you care so much? He asked her. She turned to him, tears in her eyes. Because I was a slave. And you gave me a coat. The first gift, the first warmth. The first time someone didn't look at me like I was trash. Her voice broke. I won't let them take that away. Jace pulled her into his arms. Then we'll stand. Together. They set the trap. A dead system. No life. No sun. just drifting ruins of a shattered world. The Bloodwind waited in silence. And then he came. One ship. Dark. Silent. Voskai. He entered the system alone. The moment he stepped aboard the Bloodwind, the lights dimmed. Jace stood in the hallway with his weapon. Voskai walked slowly, his face half machine, eyes glowing red. His voice was cold. "Give me the girl. No. Then die for her." They fought in the lower decks. Voskai was faster than anyone Jace had ever seen. Blaster shots bounced off his armor. He moved like a shadow with knives. Jace was thrown across the room, bleeding. Tannic's men fired again and again. Nothing stopped him, until Serene arrived. Barefoot. Pale. Shaking. But standing. She stepped between Voskai and Jace. He raised his hand. A blade slid out from his arm. "I was like you once," Serene said. "Broken, rebuilt, controlled. You are still controlled," Voskai said. "No," she whispered. "I have a voice now." And she screamed, but not in pain, in power. The wall shook. Voskai dropped to his knees, his systems overloaded. Sparks flew, his voice glitched. "What? Are you free?" He collapsed, silent, dead. Serene fell too. Jace crawled to her, pulled her close. No, stay with me." Her eyes opened. "Did I stop him?" "Yes," Jace whispered, crying. "You did." "Good." She smiled weakly. "Because now others might be safe." Hours later, the Bloodwind flew again. Tannic's crew watched Serene like she was a living myth. She lay in a recovery pod, healing slowly. Jace sat by her side every hour, and in the dark corners of the galaxy, word spread. The girl with the voice had beaten the Empire's reclaimer, and hope, real hope, was no longer just a story. She was a gift, but became family. 3 weeks had passed since Serene defeated Voskai. The Empire had gone silent, not because they gave up, but because they were afraid. They lost something they couldn't explain, a living weapon that chose mercy, not obedience. On board the Bloodwind, Serene woke each day stronger. The glowing marks along her skin had faded, no longer burning. Her voice no longer broke machines. Instead, it reached people. She walked again. She smiled more. But deep down, she knew something was coming. And so did Jace. "You're healed," Jace said, standing by her bunk. "My body, maybe," Serene answered softly. "But inside, I'm still learning what it means to be free." He nodded. "Freedom isn't a place, it's a choice you make every day." She looked at him. "And what do you choose?" He smiled. "You." She blinked. "You don't have to say that." "I'm not saying it to make you feel better," Jace said. "I'm saying it because you've become more than someone I saved. You're my family now." She froze. No one had ever said that to her before. Not even once. Later that day, a message came through, broadcast across illegal channels. A call for help. A secret colony, hidden on a moon known as Sereth's Cradle, was under siege. Not from the Empire, but from one of its ex-generals who had broken away and was now hunting escaped slaves. Hundreds were hiding there. Many of them were like Serene. People with altered bodies, machine voices, and no home. "We can't ignore this," she said. Tannic shook his head. "It's suicide, you know that, right?" "Maybe," she said. "But what good is freedom if you're the only one who has it?" Jace stepped beside her. "Then we go together." They arrived at Sereth's Cradle during the Black Cycle, night across the entire surface. The colony was quiet, but fear lingered. In every dark corner, the ex-general named Malgor had taken over half the moon. He wanted to capture the enhanced and sell them back to the Empire. Serene walked into the colony square. Her voice carried through the wind. "You don't have to hide anymore." No one answered. "I know what it feels like to be owned, to be built like a weapon, to be afraid to speak." People peeked from windows. Some stepped out. Small children clutched old tools. Women held worn weapons. Men wore chains they hadn't yet removed. She stepped forward. You are not objects, not slaves. You are more than what they made you. Silence. Then a whisper. You're her. The one who stopped the reclaimer. Yes, she said. But I didn't do it alone. A man gave me a coat instead of chains. Food instead of commands. Kindness instead of silence. She looked at Jace. He didn't give me freedom. He reminded me I deserved it. They began to fight back. Jace trained them in defense. Serene taught them how to control their voices, those who had the same implants. Tanak's crew dropped. Supplies. When Malgor's army came, they were ready. Serene stood at the front. You can run, Malgor shouted from his ship. I will still find you. Serene stepped forward. No, you won't. And this time she didn't use her voice to destroy. She used it to awaken. Hundreds behind her joined in, speaking in harmony, in rhythm, creating a pulse that knocked down Malgor's systems without a single shot fired. His weapons jammed, his engines died, his army fled. He was left alone. Serene walked up to him, eyes glowing. You made us to kill, she said. But we chose to live. The colony cheered. The chains were broken, this time not by power but by unity. Back on the Bloodwind as the stars moved past the window, Serene sat beside Jace. You once told me I was not a gift, she said. You weren't, he replied. But now, I feel like one. He turned to her. You were never given to me. You were meant to find me. She leaned against him. What are we now? A family, he whispered. She closed her eyes, smiling. Then let's find others who need one too. And so the story didn't end. They became a symbol, not of war, but of healing. A girl once gifted as property, now gave hope to others. And the man who gave her a coat, he never stopped choosing her. Every single day. The end.